Hi everybody, this is Ernie1 on Podbean. I know we're still talking about socialism all over the country because we've got so many socialists trying to become president, and those type of people are praising just about every communist we've ever had in the world. I mean, Bernie Sanders spent the whole week proclaiming the glories of Fidel Castro and how he helped literize all of the people in Cuba. Well, he really didn't. He literized a lot of the men. But about the only thing they taught the women was how to sign their names. So that's part of another communist lie. But keep listening to Bernie. Keep watching what he's saying, because you're going to find out more and more lies about communism and socialism. If you want the truth, you're going to have to go someplace else. I want to go through a couple of points for you that have a lot to do with communism and socialism. And for those of you who don't pick things up real quickly, I'm going to do this slowly because I want you to understand just how evil socialism and communism really is. All right? I'm going to give you a few dates and a few statistics. In 1911, Turkey disarmed all of its citizens. Shortly after, 1.5 million Armenians were murdered. Sort of an ethnic cleansing kind of thing. That started in 1911. In 1929, Russia disarms its citizens. And over the next 24 years, 20 million Russians were murdered and sent off to gulags. In 1935, China disarmed all of its citizens. And between 1948 and 1952, 20 million Chinese were murdered. It's hard to fight back when you don't have anything to fight back with. And then in 1938, a little more famous gun confiscation. In 1938, Germany disarmed all of its citizens. And over the next 7 years, 6 to 8 million Jews were murdered, among a couple other million other types of people, ethnic peoples, and religious people. Getting a little closer to where we are now, in 1956, Cambodia disarmed all of their citizens, all of them. And between 1975 and 1977, 1 million people were murdered. 1964, a little closer to the U.S., Guatemala disarmed all of its citizens, and then they went on to murder over 100,000 Mayans, the Mayan Indian people. In 1970, Uganda disarmed all of its citizens. You're beginning to catch the key word here, disarmed? Yeah, Uganda disarmed all of its citizens. Over the next decade, 300,000 Christians were being murdered, or had been murdered. And right now, they're murdering Christians all over Africa. Boko Haram, a few other people like that. They're killing Christians right and left. They're burning down churches, men, women, and children. And in 2012, Venezuela, which is our favorite it's my favorite presentation about communism, all right, or socialism. Venezuela disarmed its citizens, and right now, you can see what the results are. People are eating out of garbage cans, like I've mentioned before. They're eating out of trash trucks. The zoo animals are all already gone, most of them. Not many cats and dogs left in Venezuela. Mice and rats are the next thing on the menu, I guess, and just about anything they can find in the jungles of Venezuela. That, my friends, is socialism, and I don't think that's what you want. I'm pretty sure that you don't. But remember, the left is working tirelessly to disarm the American people, to take their guns away. If they take our guns away, we're going to end up just like the other people did. Especially to you younger people who don't remember this, please do yourself a favor. Get yourself a history book. Go to history.com or something. Don't read something from one of the colleges. You're all going to get a bunch of crap and just a bunch of nothing. So if you want to learn, go to a history book, a real history book, something written in the 50s and 60s, maybe even the 70s, because that's where the truth lies. We need to know, and all of you need to know especially, the history of our country, and especially the history of socialism and communism. And believe me, they're very, very close to the same thing. Some people are socialists and they don't know they're communists. Some people are communists and they know damn good and well they're socialists. So anyway, I just want to touch off a few of those facts for you. These are what the people are screaming and yelling about. You can go to any military seminary or cemetery in the United States and see the headstones of all the people who have kept freedom alive in this country. And then you go downtown on a Saturday afternoon and you see college kids and unemployment kids and homeless, whoever they are, Antifa, those kind of people. You see them screaming and yelling for communism and socialism. And we all know that those boys, men and women who died in the First World War, the Second World War, Korea and Vietnam, and all over this world, to include everything in the Middle East, we're fighting socialism and communism over there. All those boys have died to keep that sickness away from our country. And these knotheads are running around in our streets in our country here, proclaiming the benefits of socialism. Well, go to Cuba. Don't just ask some Cuban. Go to Cuba. Ask some person. Walk up and down the streets. See how many stores are open. See how many stores have groceries. I would just dare you to do that. If you have the money, do it. If I had the money, I'd send you. But keep that in mind. Socialism has never worked anywhere. I want to know when you want to be a socialist and you read a little bit of history, how do you possibly come up with the proposition in your mind that you like or want socialism in this country? It doesn't work. It's just one great big anti-American, let's get rid of all this freedom and liberty example, and that's exactly what it is. There are people indoctrinating the kids in high school, the kids in college. So what you have to do as a parent, you've got to get involved. You got to go see what they're learning in college, high school, grade school, wherever they're going. You need to find out what the curriculum is. There's a teacher in, I believe it's Maryland, who's comparing our president to Nazis and communists. Now, you may not like Donald Trump, but he's a damn sight long way away from a communist or from a Nazi. If you want to check out communism, you might want to check out Bernie Sanders. All right, enough said about that. A gentleman from the Eisenhower administration years ago, 1953, I believe, 61, somewhere around there. His name was Ezra Taft Benson. He was first of all a farmer, and then he became the 15th U.S. Secretary of Agriculture. And he wrote a letter to the president, and he said, and I quote, we must keep in mindset of collectivized socialism is part of a communist strategy. Communism is frequently socialism. We will never win our fight against communism by making concessions to socialism. Now, this is back in the 50s, folks. Those are the McCarthy days almost. And if you want to read something about communism, read about Joe McCarthy. Everybody laughed at him. He was censured by the Senate or the House, whatever. And later on these years, here we are. And what are we finding out? That half the country is filled with socialists. He even pointed out Hollywood in those days, in the 50s. And you know what? Look at Hollywood. I would say at least 75% of them are socialist and or communists and or in love with Islam. So take your pick. But you're going to find out, if you know your history, you see what's going on. If you don't know your history, you're going to be sucked up in this giant, ugly, communistic, socialistic wave. You're going to be driving one kind of car. You're going to eat one kind of bread. Some of the women are going to be in burqas. And you're going to work where people tell you to work, and your nice big house has 8 bedrooms. Socialists will come along and say, well, what the hell? You can put 30 people in that house. I'm not sure most of you who have worked your butts off your entire life, paid your taxes, done your work, want to now, at this stage of your lives, share your home with, say, 18 or 19 more strangers. Look at it, folks. You need to open up your eyes and vote against any kind of socialism, and Islam too, because they want Sharia law. And I've never met a woman in the United States that wanted to willingly wear a burqa and be happy showing nothing, throwing all of her jewelry away, her powder, her lipsticks. I don't think that's going to go over well with the average American women. The average American women have come way too far to give up what they've earned. And I don't think you're going to see that happen. You might see women in the streets with ARs. Anyway, I wanted to mention a little more about the socialism. We need to keep it alive because we need to fight it every day of the week, every hour of the day. So please join me in praying for our president, for our wonderful, beautiful country, for the president's family, for all the people who protect us and serve us. And in saying goodnight for this time, I want to say, God bless the United States of America. God bless the American people. Thank you, and good night.